Welcome back. You've probably heard this many times that the Great Commission is only for pastors, missionaries, or evangelists with microphones and big crusades. Regular people just show up on Sunday, leave the gospel work to the professionals. But that idea is not in the Bible, and it has kept millions of believers on the sidelines of something they were always meant to be part of. Let's go straight to the source. Matthew chapter 28 verse 19. The verse everyone quotes, "Go and make disciples of all nations." That word go in the original Greek is not actually a command to go. The Greek word is poruthentes, and it literally means as you are going, as you go about your normal life on your way to wherever you're already headed. Jesus was not just talking to the 11 disciples standing in front of him. He was describing a lifestyle, something that happens naturally as you move through your everyday world, not something that only happens behind a pulpit. Now look at what happened in the early church after Jesus ascended. Acts chapter 8 verse 1 tells us that a great persecution broke out in Jerusalem and the believers scattered across Judea and Samaria. Verse 4 says, "Those who had been scattered preached the word wherever they went." Those who had been scattered, not the apostles, not the trained clergy, ordinary believers, running for their lives, sharing the gospel in every city they landed in. The early church did not spread because of professional preachers alone. It spread because regular people could not stop talking about what had changed their lives. Think about the woman at the well in John 4. Jesus has one conversation with her, a Samaritan woman with a complicated past, no theological training, no title. And what does she do immediately after? She runs back to her entire town and says, "Come see a man who told me everything I ever did." John chapter 4 verse 39 says many Samaritans believed because of her testimony, not because of a sermon, not because of a crusade, because of one transformed woman who opened her mouth in her own community. She was not a preacher, she was just someone whose life had been touched, and she could not keep it to herself. And that is exactly the point. The Great Commission was never designed to be outsourced to a professional class of Christians. It was designed to flow naturally out of personal transformation. When something genuinely changes your life, you do not need a title to talk about it, you just talk about it. Peter and John said it plainly in Acts chapter 4 verse 20 when religious leaders tried to silence them. We cannot help speaking about what we have seen and heard. That is not a preacher talking, that is a person who encountered something real. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 15 makes it even more personal. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. Everyone, not just pastors, not just evangelists. Everyone who has hope is responsible for being able to explain it when someone asks. Your workplace, your family, your neighborhood, your everyday conversations, those are not distractions from the Great Commission. According to Jesus, they are exactly where it was always meant to happen. The church was never meant to be the only place the gospel lives. It was meant to be a place where believers are equipped so they can carry it everywhere else they go. You do not need a pulpit. You do not need a platform. You just need a life that has been genuinely changed and the willingness to talk about it when the moment comes. That was always the commission for all of us. Thank you so much for watching. If this challenged the way you think about your role as a believer, please subscribe to the channel and drop a comment below. Did you ever feel like sharing your faith was someone else's job? I would love to hear your thoughts.